So if someone's got between 1,000 and 10,000 and they're trying to multiply it to 100,000, what would be the steps they would take? How long do you think it would take them to go from 1,000 or 10,000 to multiply it? And would you say put that all in your own personal investment? Would you invest in the business that you're in? Would you invest it in other things that cash flow, appreciate, and provide tax shelters? What would you do?
If you got $1,000, I would like just keep investing in yourself until you got another 1,000.
Okay.
And then invest in yourself. Now you got 2,000 invested in. You go. You should start making money faster. Mm-hmm. At some point, you should start every time you make an investment in yourself. If I put fuel in my car, it's supposed to take me further.
Right.
Right. So if I invest in myself, and look, there's things I bought that I didn't get a return on right away. But I didn't quit investing in a course or a workshop or training or education because it didn't work.
Or your health.
I spent 17 years going to school. None of it was any good for me. Mm-hmm. But it did teach me. It did teach me how to go to school.
Right.
How
to study.
How to go there, how to complete a course. I completed college. Mm-hmm. I'm not proud of that, by the way.
You're not proud you completed it? Why not?
No, because it was ridiculous. I should have dropped out. I knew it was a bad thing.
What'd you major in?
Majored in accounting. It's a good degree. It's not like just some, business degree.
Right. But you should have dropped out of it. Why?
I should 100% because I'd have a 5-year jump on my career. Mm-hmm. But the problem is I was on drugs. So
actual drugs?
If I wouldn't have been on drugs, I would have quit college. Because I would have had enough confidence in myself. Mm. When you're on drugs, you can't have confidence. Because you know you're drugged.
Right.
So everything is second guess. Because my self-esteem was like through the basement. And so I'm like, I need to quit college. But everybody around me says, oh no, you got to finish college. I'm like, what do I know? I'm a drug addict.
Mm-hmm. And if I drop out, I don't have a degree, no one's going to hire me.
I didn't even worry about any of that. Because, I didn't worry about that. I just didn't have the confidence to follow my intuition. You can't when you're
on drugs.
When you're not yourself. So what do you do with $1,000, right?
Right.
I think you just got to keep investing in you until now I'm making $3,000. Mm-hmm. Okay, boom, reinvest all that again. But what we do is we start taking it off the table, right?
We save it, we don't invest it.
So I think people just need to get on that cycle of okay, I'm going to keep repeating this activity. I'm going to reinvest some money in myself, go to the workshop or whatever. Mm-hmm. Monday, I got to be hustling again. Until, okay, now I got $4,000. Okay, now I got $5,000. Now the income's starting to pick up. Income has to pick up. The income should be an indication that whatever you're learning is helping you.
That's interesting.
Until one day you're like, okay, I have more money here than I can actually
invest in myself.
I can't, there's nothing I can go to get rid of this money. You need to get rid of that money though.
All my free time is going to my workshops. I don't have more free time to invest in me.
Yeah.
I'm developing skills. I'm working. I'm earning more.
Yeah. Now,
what's the next step?
Yeah. And now it would be, okay, I got to spend money on marketing. I wouldn't I wouldn't go look for an investment right now. Mm-hmm. I'm going to spend money on marketing now. Now I'm going to spend money on marketing to get me more leads. Mm-hmm. And I would, big mistake I made in my career was not spending more money on marketing.
Because you turned, 50 when you really started investing in?
I was 51 when we started playing the social media game. And I was probably 55 or 56 when we started spending money on marketing.
Wow.
Yeah.
51 when you started doing social media.
Yeah.
And then
I should have been spending money. I should have been spending money when I was 25 years old. When I was selling cars, I should have been spending money on ads. But I was scared, man. So
what made you not scared 25 years later, 26 years later, at 51?
I started studying, hey, what do all these successful people have in common? Whether it was the mattress dealer, the car dealer, the furniture dealer, or Elon Musk. They spend money, man. They spend money. They spend a lot of money. And they don't worry about money the way I was worried about it. They used money. They used it. They didn't save it. They didn't hoard money. Mm-hmm. And the greatest companies on this planet today, the ones that have some of these companies have lost money for 25 years. Look at Amazon.
Yeah.
Reinvest. 1.7 million employees. When I started, I remember I looked at Ernst Young. I said, I had a buddy that worked at Ernst Young. I said, how many employees you got? He's like, 240,000.
Wow.
And I'm worried about 10 people. Mm-hmm. What am I thinking? Mm. So when I quit studying individuals and started studying people, everything shifted for me. When I quit trying to be when I quit worrying about what Bob was doing or Pete or whoever, and started saying, hey man, what is this big company doing? Mm-hmm. Because that also relieved me of being competitive with this guy, Pete, and started saying, okay, I'm going to go do what Coca-Cola does. That's when I bought the plane.
Right. Really?
Yeah.
How old were you when you bought the plane?
I was 50, maybe 55, the first one. I bought it because I studied what Coca-Cola was doing. They bought planes. I said, why are they buying planes? Oh, then I learned how they write them off. And then I learned how they trade them every 3 years.
That's crazy.
So notice every 3 years, I'm trading a plane. I'm getting rid of it, replacing it with another one. But what are they using it for? They don't use it for pleasure. They're not using it for Instagram photos. Right. They're using it to go and set up headquarters in other countries.
Wow.
You know, so that's when I wrote, if you're not first, you're last, because when I started studying these companies, I'm like, Coca-Cola's everywhere. You can't go any place and not see Coca-Cola. And I was like this big. I was always thinking about what can I keep? Mm-hmm. And they were thinking about how many shells can we get on? How many eyeballs can we see? Mm-hmm. So that's when it all clicked for me, you know, and that goes back to that thing about the financial misinformation, right? It's like, who am I studying? And that's when we started, you know, open up the funds for I went to New York City to go walk in Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan's offices. I wanted to walk in and see what it was like. These are multi-hundred billion dollar companies.
Crazy.
You know? And I walked in, I was like, oh my God, man. It just all hit me in a second. I've been doing everything wrong.
What were they doing different?
They own the building.
They weren't renting the building.
They own the building. Well, they don't care if they rent. They could rent it, but they own the elevators were bigger than the studio. Oh, right. One elevator. It's crazy. And 60 people got on that elevator and went to the 120th floor. And then there was six of these elevators, people going up and down. Everybody told me, don't take people's money. Do not let investors invest with you. Keep the whole deal for yourself. The second I walked into Goldman Sachs.
Because all they're doing is getting investor money.
That's all they do. Okay? And the difference is, what I do is I could go to Goldman Sachs. I was there. They would give me money. And I'm like, I'm not going to get money from them.
Why not?
I'm going to do what they do.
From individuals.
Exactly. From my friends, from people that follow me, from people that support me, okay? Goldman Sachs will give money to anybody.
Right.
Okay, they don't know how to go to these people. They're not on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn or TikTok. So I'm going to create a fund where I can tell my audience, hey, Lewis, you can invest with me. I'm going to kick Goldman out of the deal, or JP, or whoever. There's a bunch of these guys, you know. It's not that they're doing a bad thing or anything. I'm not saying they're the devil, but they're close. Okay, because they're not going to call you up and say, "How you doing, man?" Mm-hmm. You know, without saying, "Hey, you got any money to invest?" Mm-hmm. It's just not, you know, that's not what they do. Their job is to make money. Period. So anyway, when I saw that, I'm like, okay, these are the richest institutions on the planet. They fund everything that happens. The company BlackRock and Vanguard. These are probably going to be worth $20 trillion each in the next handful of years. They say they'll own 99% of all the assets on planet Earth, not just in America.
How are they able to do that?
Because they scale, right? Because they think big. So they're funding everything. Everything that happens on this planet, from media to pharmaceutical, is going to be funded by those two companies.
Wow.
So it just, when you're studying your rich uncle or the neighbor down the street, the think is only so big. And then when I started studying these other companies, I was like, okay, this is who, if you want to create that kind of legacy wealth and really help a lot of people, because they are in a position to help or hurt a lot of people. That's the scale you got to think at.
Yeah. But it took you really 25 years to get there, to start thinking that way. Is that right? Because you weren't able to see yourself spending money for 25 years. You were just trying to earn more and more and more.
Yeah, because I was just trying to, the grind was such a low level grind.
Mm-hmm. Let's say you had the right information at 25.
Yeah.
Let's just say you had a rich uncle that did what these people did and you got to witness this.
Yeah.
Do you think that you would have been able to get there faster?
Yeah, 1,000%.
Or do you feel like money only comes to you when you're ready for it?
No,
like when you're ready to make it, and when you're ready to take on the risk or the responsibility.
Sabrina will never make the mistakes I made, okay? Because she won't get in the wrong car. I got in the wrong vehicle. I didn't know. The vehicle I got in when I was 28 years old, I could actually make $100 grand a year doing this. My daughters will never get in that vehicle.
What will they do?
They'll be like, I'm not getting in a $100,000 ride. If it can't bring me, they're going to be like, hey, if this doesn't have $1 billion possibility, they're going to pick this is the wealthy. They put their kids, their kids see things differently. If they're not ruined,
right?
You know, if they're not completely ruined and scathed by having whatever they want, then they'll see opportunities different. Yeah. You know, but when you see the possibility, then you're like, I'm not going to get in that car. I'm going to get in a spaceship. So if I was 28 again today, I mean, I would know what industries to pick.
Top 3 industries to pick.
Got hedge funds have to be one of them.
Really?
Advertising and marketing's got to be a space to be in. And probably, you know, something to do with healthcare. If I could scale healthcare. If I could scale the organic alternative medicines. You know, so those are 3 massive spaces. Maybe financial too. Maybe the financial world. You know, in the next 30 years, we're probably going to have a disruption of the dollar. Right. You know, and the way money's. Maybe we're a cryptocurrency, you know, environment in the future. Yeah. So any of that's going to happen. You know. But the reason I would go there is like Jeff Bezos. When I saw the first interview with Jeff, when he was saying he was studying algorithms, I think he was at one of the big firms, selling stocks
before Amazon.
Yeah, before Amazon. And then he saw something came across his desk where there was a spike in internet activity, eyeballs going to the internet. That's when he said, "I'm going to go do Amazon." And he followed traffic. I didn't ever follow traffic. He followed scale. He followed scaling possibilities. And then what did he do? He followed this traffic, the possibility. Then he invested in the possibility. And then he went into debt on the possibility. And then he was willing to not get paid any money. But what did I do? I need money today. I got to have money this week. I need to have a little more money next week. And if I get a little more money after that, I'm going to save it all. And then I'm going to go do that again. And I'm going to feed the bank. And I'm going to keep feeding the bank. I don't even know how much money the bank's made off of me for 25 years. We don't know anybody that works harder than Grant Cardone. And as soon as he gets a bag, he brings it to us. What do? Hey, y'all want to borrow this money? Now repeat that 300 million times. Wow. And that's the American people.
What about a family that's thinking, you know, I really feel comfortable having 6 months to a year of savings because I got kids, I got, you know, the rent, I got all the bills. Yeah. What do you say to someone who's like, you know what, I see where you're coming from, but maybe I don't feel that comfortable yet?
Well, then keep, you know, money. If you think money's going to save you, you know, you're just, again, they're stacking information on top of bad information. Okay, you know, the money that you have saved in the last 6 months has probably dropped 11%. So the money that you got 100 grand. I got to have 6 months of savings. I need, you know, 4,000. My bills are $4,000 or $5,000 a month. I got to have 30 grand in the bank. Got to have 30, but they really have 180. So first of all, I guarantee they have more than 6 months, and they don't even know it because they're living out of terror. Right. It's not logic. Right. You say it's logic. I need 6 months, but you got 3 times more than you need. Sure. Number one. Number two, you've never had an emergency that cost you 30 grand in your lifetime. Very few people ever had that emergency. Everybody hears about it. Oh yeah, my guy got in a this happened, blah, blah, blah. Car accident or this. But if you had assets, if you'd been investing in assets, you can always go use those assets for collateral to solve your cancer surgery. You
can get a loan out from the bank.
100%. Or if you just took the money that you earned and keep reinvesting in assets that pay you, not assets that you wish one day will pay you, but assets that pay you every month. If you keep investing in that asset class, one day your cash flow will be your emergency account. My emergency account last month paid me $1.6 million. My cash flow, free cash flow.
That's crazy.
That's no work involved. That is not 1 second of one day Okay, and that happens every single month in my place. But that's been because I made a bunch of investments for the last, 25 years.
Right.
End of every year, I dump all my cash out every year. Mm-hmm. I'm like, you need to get as close to zero as you can. And replace it with assets that in January, if I dump out in December, January, I want a payment from that. It doesn't have to be a big payment. It just needs to be a drip off that asset.
Something, yeah.
So I'm not gonna buy a cup because the cup won't pay me. So in December, I had a bunch of money. Boom. I'm like, make a deal. You were in it, yes, a couple days ago.
Yeah. You bought that house.
Take that cash, that garbage that you have. I already had a surplus of money. So if I can't buy 2 of these, I'm not gonna buy 1 of them. If I can't write off some portion of it, I'm not gonna buy it. If I can't do it out of passive income, I'm not gonna touch it.
Interesting.
So those are my criteria for making investments, right? And it needs to cash flow. So I took a bunch of this cash that was sitting here just deteriorating, not providing me with safety, and took it and put it into this asset. And people are like, "Are you Stu, you're ridiculous. You paid that much money for that thing." Okay, we'll see, So I buy this thing. This thing will provide rental income. I think this year I'll make $3 million on this deal.
Wow.
In cash flow.
And how much do you have to put down or you to buy the whole thing?
Well, I paid cash for this house.
Gotcha.
But the reason I did it is not because this is a great deal, but this is a terrible deal.
Keeping the cash.
Keeping the cash is garbage. This Malibu house is probably one of the worst investments I ever made.
Why?
Okay, but I had a bunch of surplus cash. I had already bought, in December we bought almost 2,000 apartments. Mm-hmm. If I could have got another apartment deal, I would have bought another apartment deal with a $40 million, but I couldn't.
You couldn't find one.
I couldn't find another deal. Okay, I still had this money left over. End of the year, it's just a thing that I do. End of the year, dump out. Literally like flush the toilet on your savings. So every day I look at my savings accounts, okay? It's not because I'm worried about any more money anymore. I know for sure the money's going down in value. Everybody knows that this year. Your money is depreciating, right? It's dropping down in value. What you were told that is 100 grand is not 100 grand. The bank's not even telling you the truth. It's 100 less 11,000.
It's 11% right now?
Could be 34% less. Some people think it's going down 34%.
That's crazy.
But you're going to still see 100 because this is invisible taxing, right? It's inflation. Wow. So I know that. I know it's not 100. So when you guys look at your check, I got 180,000. You're lying to yourself because you're not doing all the math on money. This is why Mike Saylor went and took all that money he had and invested in Bitcoin.
Bitcoin, yeah. Because
he's done the research. So I would listen to him, and I'm not saying you guys should go buy Bitcoin, but I'm not buying Bitcoin at those levels. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm buying assets that can provide me with more cash, with more income. Maybe I should be buying Bitcoin. I don't know. But anyway, so I dumped this out. I dumped this for now. I've been shopping this piece of real estate for 19 months. I've been working this deal for 19 months. Wow. So I'm not being like, okay, I just got to go buy something. I'm not going to do that. But I'm trying to get rid of this cash to go into an asset that has the potential to go up in value over time. I dump out in January, okay? I do 3 webinars. That's why everybody wants to know, man, what's the rush to make more money? Because I'm broke, man. And I got a new house.
Right. You got bills to pay now. You got expenses.
So January 1st comes, I've done 3 webinars already to start filling this up again. Mm-hmm. Right now, if I walked into January 1st with $40 million sitting in a bank account, dude,
you're not hungry.
What's the rush, bro?
You're not hungry.
Yeah, let's plan. Let's do some planning this year. Mm-hmm. But what I do is I dump out. So every year for the last 15 years, every January, I end up with more assets. I go broke over here and I go up over here. You know how many people on the internet want to be the boss?
A lot.
Dude, the boss don't make any money. The investor does. Don't be the boss. Don't be the CEO. There's so much confusion in the marketplace. Be the investor. Yeah. Just invest. And what does Warren do? Warren is how I got in real estate.